Most of the time in the workplace, people confuse meeting the expectations of a role as a major indicator of being considered for a raise or promotion. Although consistently meeting the expectations of your role is a contributing factor to being promoted, some organizations may overlook this. You may wonder why is that? Well, the answer is simple. It's not because employers are part of evil corporations or that you have terrible managers who don't care about the fact that your rent went up, inflation is so high, or you have a baby on the way. Nah. The reality is, meeting the expectations of your role is exactly what you were hired to do. Perform well, show up on time, complete your day-to-day responsibilities accurately, efficiently, and consistently. An employer doesn't hire you to only do 50% of the job or just meet some of your requirements. I've had dozens of conversations with employees wanting, or in some cases, needing a promotion or a raise. But they approach the conversation from a standpoint of, I show up on time, I do my job well, I do it well, I deserve a promotion. Sometimes they even speak poorly of their co-workers, draw comparisons on their performance based on what they've seen or heard about others. Nah, never do this, by the way. Needless to say, these approaches are usually unsuccessful. TLDR, organizations, especially tech companies, focus on value, aka running a profitable business and getting a return on their investment. In this video, I'll go over 5 different ways to show your employer how you provide value and how they get a return on their investment in you. Number 1, ask your leadership, how can I help? This demonstrates to your leadership that you're invested in the company's success. It shows that you're interested in doing more and are willing, ready, and able to step up and help the organization meet their goals. This can lead to job creation and opportunities for travel. Moments where you come in with a curry tree. Things like that leave good, lasting impressions with leadership. So before I was in leadership, I asked that question. I said, I want to help, and let me know if there's anything that I can do to help. I didn't really get a response at the time, but there came an opportunity where they needed someone to go to a New York location and train and cover for a new employee. And it was about 2 weeks at the time. I think the first time that I did that, I was gone for 2 weeks. So I went, put my best foot forward, did a good job, because who's going to say no to that? Who's going to say no to the opportunity to travel? So I went, did a good job, met a manager. Her name was Jamie. She was responsible for that location. Jamie said to my manager that Andre did a really good job and he came to New York and she has this opportunity and she wants to be able to do the same thing for the Chicago location and a California location. And guess what? Next thing you know, I'm a dedicated trainer, bouncing about in the US, training people, meeting new contacts, working on my skill set, making myself as an individual more attractive in the workplace overall. Number 2, create training documentations and manuals for undocumented processes. This shows you're a team player and want to help others be successful. It helps you improve your communication and technical writing skills, helps the organization build their library of process documentation, and delivering value by ensuring consistent processes. It also helps improve workflow and helps the organization's process improvement. And it opens up opportunities to become a trainer or a technical writer. Pro tip: if you're going to do something like this, always ensure that you speak to your leadership, show them what you've done. So even if you write it already and you took the initiative, you wrote it already and you had it ready to go, don't just release it into the environment. You want to be able to communicate to your manager what you are doing so that they have an understanding of whether it's something that, can be done, should be done, because people may have different policies in place depending on the organization that you're at. So be sure that you are talking to your manager. You're still going to be showing him the initiative. You're probably not going to say no anyways, but that's just one of you. That's just, you know, there's certain ways to do things, and that's how you do those things. And that would be what I would recommend. Talk to your manager, let your manager know, here's what I want to do, here's the documentation I created. Can I share this with the team? Trust me on that. Number three, ask leadership questions about the organization and its goals. Find out from your manager what are their roles and responsibilities. Find out how their roles and responsibilities managing your team tie in and contributes to the overall organizational goal and objectives. And then a key question is going to be at this stage, is the org's growth based on revenue generation, or is it tied mostly to a fixed budget? These questions are going to give you a better understanding of the company, its operations, and its strategy. Very, very important things. It helps you see the opportunities for growth, and it helps you to gauge if it makes sense to stick with and grow with a specific company long term. And just as how when you apply for a job, companies are assessing you. When you get a job, it's your responsibility to assess that company, because there's only so much you can know about a company when you first apply. You could do all your research, you could Google search, ask questions in the interview, but then you don't really learn about this company until you get in and you're working with them. So those questions are going to be very, very important. Bonus points. Understanding the organization's operations and strategy is also great when building resumes. Being able to demonstrate how your skills and knowledge impact an organization's success is a game changer, especially when you're talking about making yourself more attractive within your company, and as well as you become more attractive within your company, you're obviously going to become more attractive to other organizations, especially if you have a LinkedIn profile where strangers from all over the world could kind of view your progress and your understanding and the things that you communicate about your company and about yourself. Number four, be more than just critical. If you're critical of operations or your leadership, be sure you have valid, feasible suggestions for improvements. Don't be the person who is overly critical of others or your company. It simply isn't a healthy place to be. Logic error. My rule of thumb at work and in life in general is to not criticize a thing I do not fully understand, and to avoid being critical if I do not have a viable alternative solution. That's not to say critical thinking and analysis is not an important skill set, but understanding that valid criticism is more than just saying this thing, this process, this person sucks. When criticism is not constructive and approached incorrectly, it reflects poorly on the one being critical and can detract from a valid or important concern that absolutely needs to be addressed. Bonus points. Before being vocal about your criticisms and concerns, ask probing questions. And your main goal there is to gain a full understanding of why a particular process, policy, or guideline is in place. This is going to help you two ways. One, it will help you to determine if your criticism is valid. Two, it would highlight valid and useful improvements, which can only happen through analysis, right? This shows leadership. You aren't just expressing your feelings on a topic, and leads to stimulating discussions, well planned and successful improvements. It's easy. It's real easy to be like, yo, this sucks. Anybody could do that, right? Anybody could walk in and be critical of something that they see, regardless of whether they understand it or not. But when you want to criticize something and you gather all the facts about what you're talking about, and then you also have some suggestions for improvement, and not just suggestions for improvements being, oh, you need to can it and do your way. It's a team effort. So there may be some elements that you can add to already existing process that may need improvement that makes it, overall 100%. It may have been at 60% before you add your suggestions. You may be able to get it to 100, but you're not going to get to that space at that 100% without that analysis, without that ability to say, I understand why this process is in place. However, here are some additions that I think you can add that may help improve the process. Would you like to explore this with me, or could you give me some information on, or more information as to what I'm missing about this process so that we can work together to make it better? And you're going to find with that approach that the conversation that you're going to have is going to be a way different conversation, right? It's going to be what I would call productive. Because, yes, there are going to be times where you're going to have to give negative feedback. Even you as an individual, you're going to receive negative feedback. But when people approach you in a specific manner, it makes you feel respected. It makes you feel listened, heard. You have to remember to keep those feelings across the board when dealing with other people. So try to avoid the criticism. And if you do have to criticize, make sure that it's thoughtful, and make sure that, you are approaching a situation where you understand that you could possibly hurt someone's feelings, right? You could possibly upset someone because it was, that may have been something that they worked on for 2 years and they felt really proud of it. And you don't just want to, for lack of better words, take a dump on it, right? Number 5, be of good character, and be of good character always. When you're seeking a promotion or you're given an opportunity to speak to your leadership and discuss the next level for you as an individual, always be of good character. Avoid talking about others negatively and comparing your performance to that of others. There are a lot of metrics especially in technology. There are a lot of metrics that managers have at their disposal to really see like who's doing where. They got average call volume, they got how many tickets a person may be closing on any given day. Some companies may have quotas for ticket scores, how many tickets you do a day, what your average CSAT is going to be, CSAT being customer satisfaction. And you may find that you may be judging an individual, but they're meeting all their metrics, which means that, a person, especially a good leader, is going to be data driven. So if they're seeing data which shows that this employee is doing the work and doing it well and interacting with the customers well, I know there's always another aspect of working with a person, which is interpersonal relationships, which is kind of something that, being a top performer, you need to have those as well, because good social skills are going to be important, but that goes along with good character. So avoid trying to compare yourself to others, because you don't know, that person might be hitting their metrics and their manager might be saying this person is doing an amazing job based on their metrics, right? They may not know that you and the individual may not be getting along well for whatever reason, but that's a topic for a different video, right? Good and experienced leaders are always going to be assessing your character. And one of the things that they're going to be looking for, are you a sore loser, right? Because we may not always win the game. We may not always succeed. And the initial pain of failure is be rough. It hurts. But what matters most is your character and how you handle defeat. Just because you didn't get a promotion today doesn't mean you won't get it tomorrow. So keep the conversation centered around the goal, which is your promotion or your raise, your performance, and in some cases, what steps you have taken or need to take in order to reach your goals. Well, Andre, I've done all these things and it didn't work, and I've gained nothing, and I still haven't been promoted. What next? Well, you might ask me that. This is when you ask your leadership for feedback. Ask your leadership why you weren't successful. Ask your leadership what else you can be considered to be successful in the future. When you have a good leader, they're going to take that journey with you. They're going to help you improve your skills and set you up for future success. The final thing that I can leave you with is going to be super important, that you don't get checked out or become discouraged through this whole process. The workplace is like a gym, but you get paid to go there and practice the skills you need to be successful and to grow your career. Yes, it will always be important to assess if a manager or organization is a good fit for you, your career, and your long-term goals. But it's equally important you continue to be an employee who is productive and of good character. Because if you leave that bad manager, that bad job, bad organization, toxic environment, whatever you may choose to class it as when you leave and you join a new organization or you even start your own business, right? The common denominator in your success will always be you, the individual, regardless of how you spin it. This is not to say people don't have bad experiences at work, but always remember you are going to be at the center of your success. You're going to be at the center of your journey, which means it's important for you to not check out. When you check out and you're not practicing your skills and being involved actively in your work, when someone has a job interview with you, you're going to be rusty because you haven't practiced the things you need to be good at to be successful in a different role, regardless of how terrible the organization may be. If you are in a terrible organization, and again, I don't really support that because I always focus with you as the individual at the center of your success. Nothing else is gonna matter. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you had any other tips that I haven't mentioned, please share them in the comments below and let's keep this conversation going. Remember, keep yourself at the center of your success. Think positive, stay positive, be positive. Thanks for watching.